certain element of dishonesty here, right? So it's not just about reducing the regulatory burden on proponents, although it certainly does that, right? I mean, a proponent comes forward and says, look, we don't know how to deal with the destruction of peatlands. We don't know how to remediate that. Can you just we'll just say adaptive management and we'll figure it out later. So that's one aspect of it, right? Which again is just like that, minimizing the costs and allowing proponents to sort of move forward when they don't actually really know how to deal with something. But words like adaptive management, right? They have this sort of like science vibe to them, right? And so what it actually also does is it purchases legitimacy for decision making, right? So instead of the regulator having to be forthright with Albertans, for instance, when these projects were going through the regulatory process, when they were going through these joint review panels, to think that it wasn't until 2012 with the Shell Jack Pine expansion that the review panel finally said, okay, there are some significant adverse effects here. Imagine that at that point we have had a pipeline, half a dozen probably projects go through, including Curl, where it's obvious that the footprint, just the footprint alone is so massive, surely there are significant adverse effects, but the regulator would say, invoking adaptive management, very clearly, and again, I've documented this in my research, because we're talking about adaptive management, we don't think there'll be significant adverse effects. And so they were, and because at the time, saying significant adverse effects, again, this idea of like the public debate, wait a minute, what does that mean? Are we really prepared to accept significant adverse effects? Are they justified in the circumstances? What does that mean? What does that look like? So there are these two aspects to it. It was fundamentally dishonest with Albertans, in addition to also, of course, reducing the regulatory burden on these companies to do the hard work, to demonstrate effective mitigation measures when they were applying for those approvals.
It seems like the whole regulatory framework is inherently malleable and flexible. So that whatever industry requires, depending on the project, depending on the relationships with the regulator, depending on the severity of the issue, depending all of those things, the regulator can kind of massage things to make it work without appearing to be overly captured by the industry, but industry gets what it wants at the end.
Yeah, it certainly is massively discretionary.